Welcome to Manawaker Studios Flash Fiction Podcast. I'm CB Derogi. A quick note before we begin. Would you like to know more about one of the authors featured on Flash Fiction Podcast? Check manawaker.com for contributor bios. This week, Roadkill by John Rickett. Daddy towers in the street, stretching an arm towards her. Come on, honey. Gigi's hands clamp her face, burrowing fingers between lips. She chews and chews. Honey, let's go. And chews, her feet glued to the curb because Daddy is standing on it. On him. Gigi? Cracks in the asphalt peek out under Daddy's boot, spiderwebbing towards his truck, snoring green fog. G? Daddy kneels close and squeezes her shoulder. What's the matter? She throws out a shaking hand, jabbing toward the pulsing, breathing cracks that splinter the road, puffing out bad breath like a dirty aquarium, like her dead fish. Oh, this again? Daddy has forgotten about the animals, about the monster he named Roadkill. Edges of the cracks peel back into black lips and yawn, exposing rows of sharp, rocky teeth. A muddy tongue spills out, licking cracked lips, drooling worms and bugs on Daddy's boot before sliding back inside. A voice, deep and gravelly, drawls, "Has your daddy brought me breakfast?" She buries her face in her hands, pushes the fear deep into her belly, but her lip quivers. Tears fill her eyes. Daddy rubs her shoulder again, tries to wiggle big hands into hers. Gigi, look, they're just cracks. Now come on, we have to go. The asphalt mouth smacks its lips. You'll be much more filling then. What was it he fed me last? Gigi shoulders away, steps off the hard curb and back onto soft grass. She knits her brows together, covers them with her hands. I'm not gonna carry you, Daddy says, changing to his adult voice. I thought you were a big girl. Is this about the squirrel? Right, the squirrel, smashed up, run over, perfectly tender meat. It's still down here, you know. She peers through open fingers. Roadkill's asphalt ripples like ocean tide, shaking Daddy's truck. A beetle falls from his muddy tongue, smacks the ground belly up, which is almost silly, and helps the fear stay in her stomach until its legs twitch a heartbeat and it stops moving. Then it's not silly anymore, it's just dead. In the gaping mouth, thousands of eyes blink out from the earth, eyes of animals who claw up Roadkill's granite throat, howling like angry wind. I've been thinking. I bet Daddy's taste just fine, too. Daddy tugs on her arm, and she screams and tries to explain the down-below animals with the matted red fur, tries to tell Daddy to run, just run, that Roadkill is going to eat him. But Roadkill steals the right words from her mouth, so she screams, Daddy, no! Daddy, no! Then Daddy's arms are around her, lifting her toward Roadkill. Come on. Either of you, ground to a pulp, juicier than a puppy, crunchier than a squirrel. Her entire body feels cold as winter fingers. She flails. Balled fists hit Daddy's jacket. Gigi, stop. he says, pinning one arm to her side. "What the hell is the matter?"
"Please, I crave your little bones ground to powder."
The asphalt shudders, spits up rotted, meaty paw patched with orange fur.
"Remember this one? The millers named him Milo. Don't you want to pet Milo?"
And the dead animals tear up the sides of Roadkill's throat. He coughs, spitting gravel and bits of bones, forcing the dead down. The animals bleat from the depths of his stomach, chaotic and terrifying. Gigi opens her mouth to scream, but Roadkill steals her air, so she buries her face in Daddy's chest, shoving and shoving. But Daddy grabs her tight. He thrusts her sideways, hooking her under one arm, hovering her over those jagged, black teeth.
"Christ, stop it!"
"Just a taste. One little lick."
The black tongue lashes out and snags her sneaker. She kicks and pounds as the cracks open to chasms wider and wider until they devour the street. Daddy floats above it all, mud and moss and worms and smoke crawling up his legs, reaching out for her. Hunks of meat and flesh and hair, those who didn't look both ways, gaze up with glowing, hungry eyes. Daddy throws open the car door and tosses her into her car seat. As he buckles her in, saying,
"I don't know what the hell you're going on about."
Roadkill's tongue is snaking around Daddy's leg. She tries to warn him, but Roadkill makes her eyes heavy like bedtime. The truck door slams. She jolts awake, sweaty and panicked. Daddy sits up front. He adjusts the mirror and smiles at her. Bald fists rub her eyes. Out the window, the street is just a street. There's no roadkill. Only cracks stitched tight. Renegade grass popping up out of them. Daddy's car drives off, leaving the monster behind. In the mirror, a bird swoops down and lands, plucking up the dead beetle that was silly before it was dead. A slimy black tongue worms out of the cracks, draping the bird in shadow. Gigi's eyes go wide. She yells, "Daddy, bird! Daddy, bird!"
"Yes, honey, a bird,"
Daddy says, wheeling the car around the corner. Before the cracks vanish from sight, that tongue smashes the bird flat, and smearing blood and feathers across the asphalt, drags it down into the street.
This has been Roadkill by John Rickett. The Flash Fiction Podcast theme song is by Kevin MacLeod. I'm CB Droege. Thanks for listening. Episode 0136. Production copyright 2016 CB Droege and Manawaker Studio.